Hello, Lara friends. Welcome to this stream here. My name is Christoph here, and we have a very special stream for you today. It's already almost Christmas, almost the end of the year. It's time to reflect, sit back, think about the last 12 months, what has happened. And yeah, in terms of Laravel, a lot has happened, you know it. And yeah, it's time to just talk a little bit about it, be thankful, and of course, I'm not doing this here alone. Let's bring in here my first guest. Hey Josh, how you doing?
Hey, Christoph.
Oh, you
Doing
got a
really
little bit
well.
of
I'm excited to be
sunlight.
here. A little bit, little bit.
Oh, it's already
That way I
dark
can
here.
see.
Sun
Yeah.
coming up at your side. What's your time?
It is 9:30 a.m. over here in
Yeah, okay.
sunny Western United States.
Nice. And it's 5:30 here. Completely dark here. But yeah, great to have you. I hope you're good. I hope you are prepared. I hope you are ready for
I'm ready.
this. Awesome. Let's bring in our second guest here, which is Nuno Maduro. Everyone
What's up,
knows him.
everyone?
Everybody loves him. Which direction is it? Yeah, this one.
Yep, that's what
How's
I-
it going, Nuno?
I'm doing fantastic, dude. How you doing?
I'm good as well. So what's your time? I think it's 1 hour behind me. Is it 4:30 your time, or is it?
Yeah, it's 4:30 at the moment, correct?
Yeah, in Portugal. Okay. Great to have you too. I hope you are ready as well. I heard already you took some notes. That's good.
That's
We
right.
probably will
That's
need
right.
them. Okay, so the way we do this here, I have something prepared, which is this little Laravel 24
Ooh.
generator. I actually didn't build it myself. I let AI build it for me. And I think
There
it
you go.
looks really good for that. It was like of work, no, maybe 10 minutes, which I think is crazy. I haven't looked too much at the code, but it works. At least it did when I tried it. So let's see if it can give us our first topic here. Oh, interesting one.
Ooh,
Laravel merge. So I put this on the list because I was asking about what people want for Laravel in 25, so in the next year. And a lot of people ask about more merge. And I know some other people from the Laravel team also had some nice ideas, and we have this little shop already. But yeah, I feel like there is much more we can put in there. So what are your suggestions? What should we put into the Laravel shop for next year? What do you like when you think about a brand like Laravel? What do you want to wear or buy?
for
Josh,
me
maybe you
personally,
start.
I'll start for me personally. I love hats. So like any kind of 5-panel hat. Like so, for those who don't wear hats, my take is I don't like the snapbacks. So Christoph wears a lot of snapbacks. I like the 5-panel hats. They have like more of a flat front. They're a little bit shorter. They're not so tall. Mostly because my forehead's too big anyway. So like I can't wear super tall hats. So 5-panel hats. I think of like this what the syntax folks are doing with merch. I think would be awesome for like Laravel. So like having like some really like artisan type shirts, like that would be awesome. Like just the word artisan across the front, that'd be sick. Um, Also, I think like any type of like hoodies or maybe like Crocs or sweatpants, that'd be fun.
Oh wow, yeah.
Those are my hot takes.
I'm pretty
I
sure Nuno
would.
doesn't have Crocs yet. But
No,
if you,
not yet. However, like I would love some merch with some hidden gems, like stuff that only artisans truly understand. You know what I mean? Like some DD functions, some magic functions that only Laravel has, and other people will just don't get it. You know what I mean? So I'm actually with merch
DD,
from Laravel
yeah,
at the moment, as you can see right here.
oh,
And I'm,
there you go.
I just love to wear them all the time, every single day. I literally just also sleep with some of them, even. And yeah, I would personally love some merch next year that only like Laravel people will truly understand. Some DD functions, some of that magic that only Laravel provides. Also, probably some of the sentences that were said in the past that only like OGs understand, like whip commits.
Mm.
all those crazy things that only Laravel people will understand. Personally, that's my my wish.
Yeah, that's a good one. I also have something here in the back.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I know a lot of people would want to have one of these.
Yeah, that's a good one. I
Oh,
actually have mine somewhere, but I do have that one as well. Yeah.
The one and only Taylor Otwell bobblehead. And yeah, when you showed the sweater, this is also one of my favorite sweater or zipper that you have, which we
Yeah.
got at the Laravel team event this year. And I really hope that we can provide this sweater in some way to everyone who wants this, because this is super cool. I'm also a big fan of hats. By the way, I'm Josh. Since you're here, I wanted to ask you this for a long time, because we both got comments about wearing hats inside. And I'm thinking about this. Why do people think that it's strange to wear a hat inside? Is this something from the US? I've never heard anyone or seeing this somewhere that this could be an issue. Is this connected to something? Is this like, I don't know, maybe a church thing where you put off your hat when you go inside? I have no idea. Please help me. Do you understand that?
I, I think it is like something similar to that, where the functionality. It's seeing a hat more as like a function piece of protecting you from like the sun or something like that, instead of a style piece. And I think like that's where a lot of the disconnect happens.
Oh,
I don't really hear too much about the inside piece. It's more just like, why do you always wear it kind of thing. Like that's the biggest
okay.
thing.
Yeah, so I can tell people it's my protection for you because of the hair that are under it, which don't look that good anymore. So maybe this way. But yeah, I really want to see a lot of merch for Laravel next year. I was also a big fan of the GitHub merch from early beginning, like the Octocat. I have 2 or 3 of them somewhere here, which I really like. So maybe we get something like this, or the Laravel Dragon, which we had at the beginning in the framework, which we had just as a text inside. I don't know where it was. Was it inside specific file? I think it was inside the index file somewhere. I can't remember, but it was a dragon which was drawn just through text, and it's one of the early first level, I don't know, gimmicks or secrets, and maybe we could bring the dragon back as well.
I also feel like it's kind of cool to have limited editions sometimes. Like even the bubblehead thing, it's probably so special
Yeah,
these days because only a small amount of people actually have them.
that's true. Yeah,
So maybe we can make like some limited editions that are only available for for the community on this amount of time, for example.
yeah.
I
So
like that.
Hank, if you're listening, write down what we're saying here. All good stuff for you, so you don't have to think about this anymore. Yeah, maybe
Yes,
if you have
sir.
something in the comments as well, yeah, tell us what you think, and we'll look through them as well. Sorry, Josh, did you want to add anything?
Nope. I was just gonna say, yeah, we can. We're now officially marketers now, so we
We
know
are.
what we're talking about.
Okay, this was a good first topic to start. I think let's get to the next one, and let's see what we get now. By the way, the app is still working, so not too bad for AI. Oh, yeah, that's
There you
a
go.
recent one, Inertia 2.0. So maybe, Nuno, do you want to start? When you think about Inertia, when you think about the release, what are your
Yeah.
first thoughts about this topic?
Yeah, so the story behind Inertia 2 is actually an interesting one. So Laravel Cloud and both Inertia 2 development actually started kind of at the same time. So we decided from that moment that we wanted to dog food Inertia 2 on Laravel Cloud so we could backport some features that we needed on Laravel Cloud on Inertia 2. Like one really good example was I was coming from a Livewire background, so I love the prefetching deal. Like when you pass over a button, you can literally just prefetch the link being fetched behind the scenes. So I was a big fan of that feature, and yeah, I just said it would be so cool to have this here. And because we have such talented people behind Inertia too, both the author but also Joe, they actually built that feature. So we were super happy about that. Also deferred props is something that I'm not really sure how people were using inertia before that. Because sometimes it just one stuff needs to be deferred. You don't want to load it on the first run. So yeah, I feel like Inertia 2 is a great piece of software. Super happy about this V2 version. We are using it in Laravel Cloud at the moment heavily, and just so happy about with this tool basically, because it gives me the power of using JavaScript in my front end. And meanwhile, it's super compatible with my Laravel code. Everything just works well together. And yeah, just super fast. And I'm able to use all the stuff I like on React at the same time.
And maybe let me dig in here a little bit because, you're now
Go for it.
working with Inertia with Cloud. And
Correct.
I think you haven't used it much before that, from what I know, or have you?
Yeah, so I have used a little bit of Inertia, but not like an extent that I'm using on Laravel Cloud, in terms of size, in terms of scalability. On Laravel Cloud, we actually want to build a UI that feels snappy, that feels fast. There is a lot of data sometimes being transferred between the backend and the front end. And, obviously with Inertia 1, there was some problems if you want to build something like this. And I feel like Inertia 2 literally solves all those problems. So super happy about this release.
Yeah, nice. So Josh, I also know you're a big Livewire fan. So, but I also know you did some researching and did a video about Inertia too. So, what are your thoughts about Inertia from your perspective?
Yeah, I love what Inertia 2.0 kind of brings to the table, especially because when I first started building in Laravel, I didn't understand Livewire, or like it was still Livewire 2, Livewire 3 hadn't come out when I first started building in Laravel. And so I was coming from the React side of things and even like Svelte. And so it was really cool to see like, okay, I can still use React and Svelte on the front end and do that. And so like the pieces that were kind of like missing for me is like I didn't quite understand the connection piece, especially coming from the JavaScript side of things. Like the connection piece of Inertia like made sense, but it also like felt like it was I don't know, maybe like minimal for the sake of being minimal. And I think with Inertia 2.0, it kind of pushes that into like actual batteries and magic and stuff that like I've come to love about Laravel. And so like with the ability, it feels like the front end and back end are more connected now, rather than just having the ability to push view files to from your front end kind of thing. So like that's what I'm excited about, because now I feel like, okay, I can defer something on the back end, but that means it's being deferred on the front end. So it feels really connected. And I think that's what makes me the most excited, because it doesn't feel like anymore I'm writing React and then I'm writing in Laravel, but I just don't have to write an API. It feels like I'm writing one Laravel app.
Yeah,
Can I add a small bit on that? I'll super agree with you, Josh. And I was just thinking, like, Joe truly make it like to the next level, because I was just thinking about the functionality prefetching, for example. There is something that only happens on real web applications. Like, imagine that you have a table with a bunch of links, and each of one of those links leads to a different page, for example. If you have something like prefetch on over, and you over very fast on 5 different items, you probably or likely to click only on the last one. So Joe automatically cancels the previous ones, so only takes care of the last one. Like it's such detailed, this Inertia 2 release, that I feel like Joe really take it to the next level. I'm super happy about this release. And I know as well that this was only possible because Joe also rewrote basically the backend, a little bit of Inertia 2, to basically allow asynchronous requests, for example. So at the moment, well, at least from my understanding, with Inertia 1, you could only make one request at a time. And now with Inertia 2, you can literally make multiple requests at the same time, cancel the ones that are not important, for example. So yeah, very, very nice piece of work done right there.
I see already a lot of love for Inertia. And it's not just you, I think also from the community and also from big influencers, people, YouTubers, more and more from the JavaScript world are also catching up with what Inertia is. And I think it's a little bit like Josh explains at the beginning. You're like, I think when you come from the JavaScript world, so that's how I imagine it, you were like, okay, what's that? Why do I need this? But the more you see what it does, and then also what Laravel gives you from the back end, is something that really blows people's mind, especially JavaScript developer who still have to deal with a lot of stuff that they have to create through so many different packages, dependencies, and there's a lot that Laravel can give to them, and they still can use what they love, React, Svelte, Vue, whatever. And I also feel like this is a big step for inertia ahead, and I also feel like way more people next year will use it. And for me, I also come more from the Livewire side. I haven't learned JavaScript really well, so I like when I don't have to write it. But I've worked a little bit with React at my last job, and now started a little bit working with it again with Remotion, where you can create videos with React, which is a very cool project. And I'm also eager to learn more about it. And I'm also tempted to create one of my next projects with inertia as well, which would be my first one. So I'm sorry, but I haven't had any projects with inertia yet. But now I'm really tempted. And this is also a good sign because I'm a big Livewire fan and I still love Livewire. And it feels so good for Laravel that we have those two tools. I mean,
exactly.
It's crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it's the huge problem at the moment, which is Inertia 2 is incredibly good, but at the same time, Livewire doesn't stop improving, So we have this huge problem where we have two amazing pieces of software. Both are great, and we have no idea what to do. Like probably the most requested question I have on Twitter, YouTube, and everywhere, it's literally, what should I use? Inertia 2 or Livewire? Because Livewire at the same time, while all of this happens, doesn't stop improving, Livewire is every single day I see Caleb with new features on Livewire, and now it just bring Flux, for example, which is awesome. There is also Filament, which is an amazing admin panel. So it's just difficult at the moment. Difficult choices. It's good that we have a difficult choice like this, I feel like.
we are blessed. We are truly blessed.
I think one of the things that's interesting too about inertia is how it is one of the not few tools, but one of the more prevalent tools that kind of reaches outside of the Laravel community too, because there's community adapters, for Rails and Elixir, Phoenix, and I think like even for stuff like Adonis.js and stuff like that. So it's like one of those things that, okay, yes, Laravel kind of gets all the magic because it's kind of first party support and you get the defer stuff and stuff like that, but it also kind of paves the way to like say, hey, all this cool stuff that we're doing in Laravel with the front end marrying the back and stuff like that, Rails also can have it too, and Phoenix can have it too. So I think it's cool that it reaches outside of the Laravel world at the same time as like brings more people into the Laravel fold too.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what I'm really happy about is that, as you said, Caleb is working on Livewire like all the time, and we see so many improvements, but we haven't seen that many improvements with inertia. And now finally, it feels like inertia got more love again, which it deserves. So I'm really happy about this as well, because it's just good for the community. And again, they're all free. Livewire, Inertia, Laravel. Crazy world. Okay, next topic. You ready? By the way, we have currently 100 viewers. So let's say hello to everybody watching here, wherever and whenever you are. We are very happy that you are here. Maybe at the end we'll have a little bit time for questions. We're not sure yet, but you can still write in the comments.
I thought about that. Taking 15 minutes per topic, I doubt we are going to have time for questions.
We'll see. Maybe it will super fast with the next topics. I have no idea.
Okay. Maybe it's Pest 3 and we go super fast.
Watch it be just one that we dive into, like move more.
Yeah. No, we go with our flow. So if we don't have questions, there will be. If we don't have time for questions, there will be another stream as well. So, Are you ready? Next topic. Oh, we are already looking into the future. Laravel in 25. So, when you think about Laravel, when you think about this year, for me, it's always difficult to. What else should we have for the people in 25? We already have everything, but then every year Taylor and the team comes up with super cool new ideas and new features, and we still have lots coming in the next year. So do you have any thoughts about Laravel in 25? Do you have any wishes? Do you know anything already? Which direction might go? I'm not sure, Nuno, if you already can tell anything about that. So what do you think about Laravel and 2025?
Well, I think it's probably the most exciting year I had on this company. In terms of things coming out. Meaning that if we compare, for example, this time of the year, last year, for example, we probably had, Laravel 11 coming out, also, probably a new release of Pest being prepared. We had Livewire 3, which are three exciting things. But coming into 2025, it's just a totally different level, a level that I never thought we would be able to reach in Laravel, to be honest. So we have two new products coming out, Laravel Cloud and Nightwatch. I'm personally more connected with Laravel Cloud because I'm working on it. And Laravel Cloud is literally everything I ever wanted for Laravel in terms of deployment. Probably the audience will see a little bit more about that once it's out. But, with Laravel Cloud, you can literally have a product or, an application out in a couple of seconds, which is very, very, very exciting to see. We have Nightwatch, which brings observability to another level as well into our Laravel apps. Taylor was just saying yesterday on his interview that they just added Nightwatch to Forge, and they were able to detect immediately things they could do on the Forge application to improve, make it faster and more. So that's just super exciting. We also have Laravel 12 coming out with new starter kits, with a new website. So many stuff being cooked behind the scenes that it just makes me so exciting for this new year coming. I barely can believe it, to be honest. And what do you guys think? What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I think it's crazy to think of I don't know, like before I got to join the team, like I was already so excited about Laravel and like what was happening and just like more and more people kind of like talking about it. And now like kind of being on the other side, but also just seeing like what's in store for the future. I think of like how um much more like opportunities there are for people who are just getting into Laravel because it's one of those things where like if you think, oh, is it too late for me to learn to code? Usually the answer is no, it's never too late. You should probably like learn right now because it's always going to be useful or there's always going to be job opportunities, that kind of thing. And like I feel the same kind of answer for people who are like, is it too late for me to learn Laravel? People thinking like maybe they missed the bandwagon or like they forgot to jump on the train kind of thing. But I think like there really is no bad time because there's just going to be so much more opportunities for things that maybe people in other ecosystems and other communities are already expecting, like VS Code extensions or like an easy way to, to deploy or easy way to monitor. But now that just is all packed into a first party opportunities. And I think that just like speaks volumes to like what the ecosystem as a whole is moving towards. And so I think it continues getting better from the top down. And so as Laravel, the company, like has all these amazing products, it just means that the communities are only going to be like, okay, well, here might be not something that Laravel is going to focus on, but this is something that a package is needed. And all of a sudden, those packages are going to be even better and better and better. And I think that's why I'm most excited for is kind of what I've already seen just in like the last couple of years that I've been building in Laravel is like that top-down approach of, hey, here's some amazing things. So when the community or even like people like Caleb with Livewire and Flux, when those things come out, all of a sudden you get excited because you feel like it's still so tightly connected.
Yeah, I can only agree. So what I also found really interesting in the past, it was often like we had big releases for Laravel 11, for Pulse, for Reverb, and mostly it was often that we had to focus on one thing or two things a couple of months, and then we could focus on another one. And now with the bigger team, it's just crazy what we can do now. We work on these amazing products, but still we're working on amazing stuff for the framework. Taylor just created a new UI helper, which is just amazing. And I'm really a fan of those little things that help you in your everyday coding challenges, or this new VS Code extension, which probably will be a separate topic here. But yeah, there is so much that we can do now on so many different levels at the same time, which is just crazy. And we just started here, and you've already seen the second half of this year. What Laravel put out and what we're working on is a lot. But yeah, next year will be even bigger. And I feel like it will be a very exciting year for Laravel because we have the people, we have the ideas, we have so many good people here at Laravel and all those different teams and all are so have so many good ideas on what we can do and how we can improve. Now we're working on new starter kits, which is also a super exciting topic, which I'm looking forward with now Tony on the team. So yeah, it's just difficult to grasp everything what's happening and what we can do here and all this in the most level way that we want it to be, like we've done in the last years, or like Taylor have done and the team in the last years. So yeah, super excited about this as well. So I think it will be a very, very exciting year for Laravel in 25.
Yes, sir.
100%.
Okay, next topic. People in the comments looking satisfied as well, which is good. Let's create a new one. What do we get, Center? Oh, soft topic, Christmas traditions. That's something that I put in. So I know that Christmas traditions are quite different from Europe and the US. So I'm very excited to hear what it's like at your side, Josh. So maybe you want to start. What is Christmas like in the US or at your side? So what are your plans? Any traditions, any special things that you like to do in your family? We want to know all about them.
Yeah, our Christmas traditions are pretty. And there's nothing like too big. Like one of the things like I don't know if it's a thing outside the States or maybe it's not even a thing in the States, but one of the things that my family had always done was we had chocolate fondue on Christmas Eve. And so dipping kind of like, I don't know, angel food cake and strawberries and cherries into chocolate fondue. And that was kind of like I don't know, our evening, I guess I should say, on Christmas Eve. And then we always on Christmas morning, we would always try to do something like nice for someone else, whether that was like giving like going to giving something to the homeless or something like that. But then we would also have cinnamon rolls when we came back on Christmas Day. So those are like two traditions that I've kind of like came out with for my family.
This is the 25th, right?
Yep, the 25th. That's on
do
the
you
25th,
do anything on the 24th or nothing?
The 24th was the chocolate fondue. So
okay.
The night of Christmas Eve. Yeah, the 24th.
Okay, so still celebrating on the 24th, but you just do it on the 25th as well. Okay, because this is I guess what's one of the main difference here, because I'm not sure what it's like in Portugal, but I think here and in Germany, Austria and Germany, you only celebrate on the 24th, and then maybe the next days you visit other families. But yeah, maybe I'll go next here. So usually on the 24th, we're all going to my mother. So me, my wife, my brother, my sisters, their kids. So I don't know, we're like 15 or 17 people, and all together in the afternoon. And we also have this tradition that also with the kids that we bring them all in a separate room. Then we're going to light some candles and this spraying light stuff. I don't know what they are called, the sprinkle light stuff. And then it's kind of this Christmas music, very classical sound, and then there's this ring, and then everybody goes out to the Christmas tree, and it's dark, and only the candles are on, and all the presents are underneath. So that's 24th afternoon. Then we're singing together a few songs, and then probably mostly a dinner together, and unpacking stuff. And most celebration is on the 24th, and then the next days we just try to get to the other family parts and through the parents of my wife. So that's basically, I think that's very common here in Europe. Is it the same on your side, Nuno?
So we don't actually celebrate the 26th. So it's only the 24th and 25. And it's literally like drinking and having food for 48 hours. You know, nothing special over there. Just literally being in my parents' house with my wife and, my family on the 24th. And the 25 is on my, on the fathers of my wife's house, basically. Also getting food and having drinks, like literally all day. Just celebrating life, celebrate that everyone is healthy, Also, it's just fun to have kids around to basically collect, the Christmas presents. Mm-hmm. And I try to keep that tradition alive as well within the family. and just always try to find something for them. And yeah, nothing really special there, just regular traditional Christmas here, I feel like. But we don't do the 26th though. 26 is like recovery, detox, basically.
I think
So
that's really interesting. Then, like, I mean, to hear like about those traditions, because I feel like in the States, and I could be wrong, and this could be just my little bubble in the United States, but I feel like in the United States, like you don't really celebrate on the 24th or like the 26th or really anything but the 25th. Like you
Yeah.
might celebrate a little bit on the 24th, like in the evening, but and some people like they open up presents on the 24th instead of 25th. But usually it's like all about the 25th. Like no one really cares about the 24th that much.
24 night is my favorite though.
Yeah.
I like Christmas Eve. I like Christmas Eve. So,
Yeah, Christmas Eve, exactly.
For us, it's also
Yeah.
very special. Also, before we were at my parents', I think like 10 years ago, it was always at my grandmother's house. And there was like a bigger family, I don't know, like 30 or 35 people on Christmas Eve. And yeah, this was really crazy with so many people there and so many kids and so much food you have to prepare. And also very funny, at that location, we also there's this kind of official Christmas story. I'm not sure what it's called. And someone or two people have to read it, which is a couple of lines. It's not that much, but we, as kids, always had to read it in front of 30 people, which was always super scary for us. And at some point, I had to join in too. And then I had to do it for a couple years and sometimes also alone, which was super scary for me. But yeah, this was also one of the traditions that we had reading this. Yeah, I think it's a kind of official Christmas story. I'm not sure what it's called, but we're not that religious here in our family, but we're still celebrating Christmas a lot. But yeah, not in a religious way, I would believe. I think a lot of people here even celebrate Christmas without the religious background of it. So,
Gotcha.
okay, next topic. Let's see what I got for you. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, Pest number 3.
I don't know if
Glad
anyone
that
can
we
talk
have
about this.
Nuno here. So maybe Josh and I start before we let Nuno in. So maybe Josh, when you think about Pest and the new version, what's the first things that comes to your mind? Because are you already using Pest? I'm not sure. I think in one of your streams you said you're not using it yet. Have you switched already? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so in one of my videos I talked about, so I don't know, maybe this is just because most of my web development career, I've always been kind of a solo developer. So I never really did tests
Yeah.
at all. And then one of my videos that I put out on the Laravel channel, it was help you walk with me and write the first test. And I used
Oh
Pest
yeah, remember.
for that. Yeah, it was really fun. So I think like the parts about Pest that I really like is it feels very like, as someone who never did any sort of testing, and so that was kind of my first foray into testing. It feels like I know exactly how to do something. I'm like, okay, I just need to, like, without even understanding what testing is, because I really didn't/don't. Like it makes sense to be like, okay, I need something to do this, and I just need to double check this happens. I feel like that's what Pest kind of brings to the table, is like, I need to make sure that this happens the way I need to make sure it happens. And I know like with Pest 3, there's a whole bunch of cool features of like how to do things like simultaneously or concurrently and simultaneously and everything like that. But I think one of the things I appreciate about Pest is like, it makes sense to someone who doesn't know what testing is.
Yeah, I now remember the video that you did, and I found it super interesting because I still remember when I started with testing, and of course when I started with Pest as well. And I think it's a super exciting time because at the beginning, testing, especially before Pest and before Laravel, testing was super hard. I felt like only the big super senior developers did testing, and they had all those fancy terms just to scare you away from testing. That's my thought. And the way we, with Laravel and with Pest, brought so many new developers to testing, this is my most favorite thing about Pest and the current state of testing. Because there are so many ways we can now show people how they can test something that is meaningful, that is easy, that you can do with just the lines of code, and it helps you for the rest of your application. So I think this is also something when Nuno has such a big impact with Pest on bringing more people to testing. And yeah, there's still other testing frameworks out. So if you don't want to use Pest, you don't have to use it. But still, a lot of people explicitly want to use it because, yeah, it brings a lot of advantages, and especially for beginners, and it's a very modern way. So I'm very thankful for Nuno working on Pest, and I was already heavy tester when Nuno started Pest, and I was not a big fan at the beginning. I still remember we also talked about it, and I was like, what the heck is this syntax? And I was like, I've written tests in JavaScript, and that time, like 10 years ago, this was the hell. This was not fun, and I didn't want to have something similar in PHP, and I was already super used to PHP unit and everything. But yeah, it's like with Tailwind CSS and with those other cool tools. When you start using them, you immediately see what they're about and why. Yeah, this also is a good choice. So I'm super happy for Nuno and for the whole testing world that we have Pest. So yeah, very thankful, Nuno, that you started with Pest and you brought it so far. I think you showed, was it from, you showed something, I think last week about the adoption of Pest. What was that?
Yeah, it keeps increasing exponentially at the moment, the adoption of Pest, which is pretty cool. At the moment, I think it sits on top of 24 million downloads, which is, it's kind of impressive. I never thought it could actually reach such a level of, adoption. And actually, if you compare, for example, from time to time, actually, Taylor, posts a poll on Twitter asking how many people are actually using Pest or PHP unit, and the adoption keeps growing on Pest. I think it's just a natural thing to do because, if you like realistically, if you compare Pest 2, which was the previous version, with any other framework in the world, you would probably already understand that it's like the most complete framework you can find on testing. So we had stuff like stress testing, architectural testing, parallel testing. Like there was so many little features that exist on Pest that are not obvious in the first look, snapshot testing and many others, that I think Pest 2 was already the most complete testing framework in the world. And a particular challenge that I had to this Pest 3 version was like, how can I make Pest 2 even better? Like it needs to be exciting because I will be on stage on Laracon US and other people are releasing their own stuff, like LiveWire 3 and Cloud and whatever. And I need to ramp up my game a little bit so I can also, announce something that looks cool. So I had to basically, brainstorm like for weeks to try to find stuff for this, and I was happy with results. So we basically came up with mutation testing, which is something kind of, it's something I've heard of, but not a lot of people knew what it was. So I think we made that very easy. We came with architectural presets, which is literally one line to have a bunch of tests for you written in your project, So I think it's something that also unheard of. People don't actually have seen this in other testing frameworks. We came up with team management on testing. That's literally never existed. Even ChatGPT find it weird. So, so I think it was something also exciting as well. And yeah, I mean, Pest 3, I feel like, I don't want to say it's a complete software like Taylor did on Inertia 1, and then he basically made Inertia 2. But Pest 3 feels a complete software for me. I would be very surprised if next year we come with Pest 4, for example. That would be surprising for me. But yeah, happy about Pest, happy about the story of Pest, and let's see how the future will bring more stuff into Pest. Let's see.
Yeah, so next year will tell us. But it's like often with Laravel where you feel like what should Taylor add? It feels like everything is already in there, and then he comes up with those new ideas. So maybe that's the same for you. But yeah, as you said, it feels very feature complete currently, Pest 3. So we have all the things that we need. But yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah,
I know I know Christoph mentioned the syntax because like I came from not knowing anything about testing within Laravel, so I saw when I in my video I kind of looked through different syntax between PHP unit and Pest, and for those who know within like Volt, I actually prefer class based over functional style most of the time. I still like functional style, so I thought I wouldn't like Pest, but I think there's something about that kind of functional syntax within testing because you want it feels like it's not code. I want it to just be something I write that I know what it happens instead of me actually like feeling like I'm writing code to write code. If that, I don't know if that makes sense. That makes sense in
Yeah,
my head.
you don't want to write the same as the code that you test. It feels a little bit more
Yeah,
different this way. I feel you, and I'm very happy to see your journey with testing as well. And yeah, maybe we'll see some more videos of you about this as well. I really hope so.
Yep.
Yeah, but please, everybody, keep writing tests. It's so important. If you haven't started, 25 is the best year to start writing tests. Please do it.
There you go.
Okay, 45 minutes in. All right, next topic. What do we got? Oh, the rise of filament. That's something that also I put in here. Oh, you have this lovely Laravel background.
I do, yes.
Oh.
Wallpaper designed by the Laravel team.
Oh, awesome. So, yeah, Filament. I put this in there. Filament is already out for a couple of years. I'm not sure when it started. But yeah, this year was the first year that I wanted to give it a try. And I was working on one application, a side project of mine with it. And I was really blown away by how big the community is, how many people use it, how many things it can do. It's so much that I also was a little bit lost in the documentation because it's huge. It's really huge. And I've heard of Filament already many times, but then you go into documentation, then you write, and then you feel like, oh my God, what is all in there? And it's crazy. And I really thought it's a good idea to talk a little bit about it, about your experience with Filament, if you have anything, because it feels like it has become very big this year. And yeah, I wanted some minutes to talk about this as well. Maybe, Josh, do you start? Have you used Filament already? What are your thoughts, your experiences?
Yep, I have used Filament already, and I actually used probably more in V2 than even V3. I mean, I still have used V3 quite a bit, but I actually built. There was a time when I was like, I think it was last February. So February of 2023, I was like, okay, it'd be nice to build like a SaaS, like just build in public on Twitter in like 2 weeks or 1 week or weekend or whatever it was, and just nights and weekends. And I used Filament V2 for that. And I think one of the things that I like kind of learned about Filament was like, I a lot of people maybe see it as like, okay, this is just an admin panel, but I don't even think like it could be an admin panel, but like the beauty and strength I think of Filament is that it is a panel builder. So it's like, hey, I'm using this for my users to log into the panel. And like, I think with Filament V3, it even leans into that even more, in the sense that you can do a lot of like even, user authentication, or like kind of say if they're doing like social authentication, or like if you have a panel for your admins and a panel for your users or multiple users. And so I think one of the things, it almost got me to appreciate someone who learned PHP by learning Laravel. It got me to appreciate PHP and types really well, because Filament is really like type safe in the sense like almost everything has a return type. And I didn't really know too much about like return types in PHP until I started using Filament. And then I was like, oh, this has to have this particular function in this class, or this has to have this particular, return value. So that was really, really interesting. But I think one of the underrated features of Filament that I really like is using the form builder, or like table within a Laravel Livewire application. So you don't even have a panel within Filament. It's just like, hey, here's my form in my PHP class, and then I just say this form, and all of a sudden on my front end I have a full form with everything put together. So I think that's like one of the underrated features. Is a lot of people can maybe see it first as like, oh, that's just a panel, like an admin panel or a dashboard, when I think it's more of like I don't know, a SaaS kit in some ways.
Yeah, it really is. Nuno, what about you? Have you used it already?
Yeah, so I've seen Filament twice. Once on Laravel Live UK, which actually the author was making a presentation about Filament, and I was blown away, like literally. And I just thought at the moment, like when I was seeing that, like, what the heck I've been missing for the last 2 years? Like, just look at this amazing piece of software. Everything just he's building a dashboard on stage with literally 3-4 lines of code. So that was super surprising to me. And I used Filament as well on Pinkery, on Pinkery. And so Pinkery, I needed actually an admin panel to literally, do some sort of if people report questions, I need to to understand if the question was bad and things like that. So I used a Filament for Pinkery, and I was super surprised by how good it is. I mean, I kind of suspected a little bit because everyone was saying cool stuff about Pinkery, so about Filament. So I suspected it was good, but I didn't know it was that good. you know.
Yeah, I
So
really.
I feel like you were saying.
Sorry, I watch you go on.
Yeah, so I was surprised by how good it was, and now I'm a happy Filament user on Pinkery. I see a couple of viewers on the chat here also that are also part of the Pinkery community, and they also are helping me out with Filament on Pinkery. And it's super clean, the code that goes into that dashboard. There's also Livewire, which undeniably it's just so cool to be able to code PHP for that. You know, and yeah, it's one of those softwares where everything just works and works really fast. You know, so happy that we have Filament in our community, on the Laravel community, and yeah, I hope it keeps growing and people find it good software to use.
Yeah, I really feel the same. And also, what I wanted to add here, it's the attention to detail, like you matter, is crazy. Also, because you can test like everything that they build. Super nice testing helpers. Everything that's in there, you have a testing section, which I find really useful and really good, especially if you're a fan of testing, like I am. And also, when I think just about the community, when you take a look at Filament and the team page or contributors page, they have a super nice page with, I don't know, like at least 10 people that are working and helping with Filament. They have their own designer. I think is it Hassan? I think so. So there are so many talented people working together for free just to make this awesome tool, to help maintain it, just for the community, for themselves, what they need. And I just find this so nice when you think about this, what this community can do if you bring some of those people together, create their own thing. And maybe they were using something else before, but they came together, built something new, and now we have another tool for everybody to use. And I think that's just one of the superpowers of the Laravel community. So many people come in, learn, and then create their own thing, what they would like to have. And yeah, it's a big win for everybody. So also all the best to Filament in 2025.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Do we have one more? Nightwatch.
Ooh.
I wanted to use the official emoji, but the one with the mask, but I couldn't find it. I think it's just a Slack one. I don't know. It wasn't in my emoji picker, so I had to use a custom one. I'm sorry. So where do we start? Maybe with Nuno again. So what can you tell us about Nightwatch without spoiling anything that you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you regarding Nightwatch. I know almost everyone is the same, like everyone who have seen Nightwatch on Laracons. Okay, that's the most I know about Nightwatch, and I've seen a demo of Nightwatch literally at Laracon AU online, and I was thinking that I was making very good progress with cloud, but then I saw Nightwatch and I was like, holy shit, like they are making so much progress on there. Like the dashboard looks amazing, the product looks amazing. So they are moving definitely as fast as us or even faster than us on Nightwatch, as a product. And it feels a great product. I'm a fan of the idea overall, that we want to have really good metrics that concern a real product in my Laravel application. like how many queries this specific user is making, who is the user with most queries, for example, who is the user sending most emails. So I think this is a very important way of observability in my Laravel apps. But the fact that now is like an entire SaaS, I think they are going to take this way further than Pulse originally was. So also the team on Nightwatch is super talented. Jazz, team, and many others. They are super talented people. So I expect no other than an amazing product coming to Nightwatch. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where like you think if you were to take a look at the announcement of Nightwatch, you're like, okay, this is like monitoring. So, and a lot of people might think, if they haven't looked into like what monitoring actually entails, a lot of people might think, oh, that's pretty simple. I just need to like log out my errors to this, send it to this one place, and just like make sure now that I'm just tracking all of this information, or do all this. But then you take a look at Jess's Laracon US talk, where she talks about ClickHouse, and like, if you're like me, within the first 10 minutes, I'm simultaneously blown away, but I also have no idea what's happening. And to be able to ingest all that information alone and to know how to deal with that, I think is mind blowing to me. So the thing I'm most excited about Nightwatch is not having to worry about all that, in the sense that like, one, it's beautifully designed, and two, like, I think it's going to provide a lot of value. But I also think it's just going to change how you think about writing applications, because a lot of times, at least for me, and this is probably like why I should learn to test better or more, but a lot of times when I'm building something, I just build it and I put it to production, and then I just fix it along the way. And I think Nightwatch is going to be helpful for a lot of those teams who are shipping fast, in the sense that, okay, you can build a feature, but now you can dive into specifically why something is broken and be able to fix it quickly, instead of having to do a lot of like logging, or even like specific QA testing or anything like that. I think like that's something I'm really excited for. I think it'll help me understand the inner workings of a Laravel application even more.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I find it so interesting following this whole journey from Pulse. I still remember when Jess and Tim were working on Pulse, and how this started, and the internal discussion about how, if this even possible to build Pulse in the way they wanted to. And you have this challenge because with Pulse, you can't just store all the data that you need in order to check your application for a longer period, because this is so much data that's come in. So you have to find the right sweet spot between what you store to give you this overview of application. And Pulse turned out really well, and people love it, and it's free for everybody to use. But then what they took now with this knowledge and now working on Nightwatch, it's just mind blowing. But it's Jess. She's just so good. And now then you have Tim. If you put those two together, I feel like they can build you anything. And now we have also Leota, and the team has grown as well. So yeah, such an amazing team over there. And yeah, for me, it's also like, people from the outside probably feel like that we know everything what's going on with every product, but it's not possible, especially because this team is working in different, way different time zone that Nuno and we do. So the contact is not. We don't contact us that regularly, but I also don't know all of what's going on there, and I feel like that's also a good thing, because it's super exciting for me when I see those talks, and also just talk about ClickHouse at Laracon US. It's just amazing when you see how she can do this, build this amazing talk about this very complex topic, and people back then didn't know that it was about Nightwatch, I believe, so which was released a little bit later. So it's such a cool project. I'm very excited about what it will be in the end to use, because Laravel Cloud, I was already allowed to use this with the early access, but Nightwatch I haven't. So super excited what this team is doing over there. So I think everybody will be very surprised about this next Laravel project. Anything you want to add on Nightwatch?
Not me.
All
I'm
right,
excited.
let's move on. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. What do you have for us now? Laracon US. So,
Past, present, or future?
the last one, which we did, which I just want to start here, which was very special because every Laracon US feels special because, yes, it feels kind of the main one that Taylor organizes himself in his world in the US. And it was also very special this year because the team has grown and it was the first opportunity for us to meet the new team members. So, yeah, what were your thoughts about the conference, the experience, the team retreat, everything? When you think about Laracon US, what comes to your mind?
Stress. for me, it was the no, not really. I feel for me was one of the most stressful Laracon USs I ever had, for multiple reasons, really. Laravel Cloud announcement, and the thing was like Taylor was literally showcasing everything on stage.
Yeah.
Like literally creating
Live
applications,
demo.
creating environments,
Yeah.
creating databases, actually using all that stuff together. So many moving pieces, and it's all I can think about. When I was there on the day one. Then I think it was my talk, which also released Pest 3. So also a bunch of stress into that. So Laravel Cloud, Pest 3. So I was so stressed, like at least during the first 2 days. But once like Taylor finished his demo, it was like fully relieved, and I'm going to just enjoy the moment now. And then it was super fun because I was with a lot of team members who I haven't been together yet, especially in the Laravel Cloud team. And we celebrated the announcement. We celebrated like being all together. So it was just fun after that. So yeah, that was my experience. How was your experience, Christoph, by the way?
Yeah, I got a mixed experience, as you might know, because I got sick, so I had to miss like half of my trip. Yeah, which was not so fun, but I also talked to Hank about this. The more time the conference is away, the more I only think about the good things, and I almost forget that I was sick, so which I think is a good thing. And yeah,
Nice.
for me, it was also special. I mean, you don't come always to Dallas, which great city to visit, so also great location there. And I still remember the first day coming in, Nuno, we had a beer together. We went straight to the pool. It felt like so good. We already know us for quite a long time already. So it's just good to meet the team. It was the first time that I met Josh, which was amazing because here you have those amazing team members, but it's hard to see them in real life. And if you have this opportunity to come together, this is just so special. Especially with those remote teams, I really would like to see the team more often or work together in a room for a couple of days if possible. Oh, sorry, my camera is gone.
It's fine. One problem about Laracon US though is that it is the fastest conference ever because you just love everyone. You want to be with everyone. It's kind of a big reunion of the entire Laravel family, and it passes so fast. At the end of the Laracon US conference, I felt like I spent 3 minutes with which one of the persons I wanted. So that was the fastest conference I ever been. But it was so fun. Like literally, I spent I think like 7 days on Dallas. And it was probably one of the happiest moments of my life. At the end, I was super happy.
Oh, so
How
nice
about you,
to
Josh?
hear.
Yeah, it was very special for me in a lot of ways because one, so I had already planned on going to Laracon before I was like a part of the Laravel team. So like, and it was going to be my first Laracon. It was my first Laracon. So that was exciting in that regard because I was already I watched the last Laracon remote because it was around the time that my daughter was about to be born. So I was going to try to go, and then I was like, oh, okay, I couldn't go to 2023 Laracon in Nashville, but I watched it online, and like that was when I started interacting more with the Laravel community, and I was it felt like I was when I.
Oh, did we lose Josh now too?
Did we just lost Josh? Yeah, I think we did.
It's a great
I
picture.
thought it was me, my internet connection being bad, but it's
but yours the best one so far. Okay, let's see if he comes back.
Yeah.
If not, we just leave this image here. It's also a good one.
Undeniably, I feel like if any of you viewers on the chat haven't been in a Laracon conference, I can like literally promise you that your experience will be just amazing. Especially if you are on the mood, in the vibe of making friends, meet people, network with everyone. Is just the best experience ever. At least for me, I don't like to miss Laracons. Every time I miss a Laracon, I feel the FOMO so much. So I try to be in all of them. So I'm going to India. I'm going to potentially Laracon EU as well again. I was thinking about not going, but apparently I'm going again. So I don't know. Laracon US again. So I guess I go to all of them again.
Yeah, like you said, you really don't want to miss them but it's a lot of time you have to spend. It's a lot of stress, as you said, especially if you have to do a talk. So also after every conference, you feel like, oh, glad to be back. Not sure if I do it the next time. Maybe I'll skip the next one, but then you still go. So I will go to Laracon EU again. Are you going to EU, Nuno?
Yeah, so I didn't want to go because, I have a wife, I have a family, so I need to explain them why I'm going to all this stuff. But apparently, I may actually go. So I don't know. I'm still deciding. Laracon India, I'm going for sure. In Laracon US, I'm going for sure as well.
Yeah. And you're also talking in India, right?
Yes, I am. Excited to be back to Laracon India, man. An amazing conference. I didn't win last year and I missed it, so excited to be back to my India family over there.
So, sorry. Josh is back.
Again.
Yeah, the India, we were just talking about the Laracon India as well, because Nuno is going. Yeah, the India family is very, very big too, so also an amazing conference. Mm-hmm. So what are you coming to Laracon EU? I guess it will be difficult for you, Josh, right?
I am not coming to Laracon EU. I was going to try to do it, but I'm not coming this year. Hopefully to another Laracon though. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, we're very glad that there are a couple ones, so everyone should have at least a chance to go to one of them every year. So yeah, I'm very excited about Laracon EU already. I just bought my tickets today. So yeah, and I don't have to speak, which is also nice because this means less stress. So I can just concentrate on meeting people and have some drinks.
Having fun.
Yeah. All right. Another topic. I don't know how many more we got. Let me check the time. We are 1 hour in. Okay. Level 11. Okay, by the way, before we talk about this, we were talking about YouTube strategies before the stream started, just a random discussion because we're all doing YouTube videos. And I'm not sure if Josh or Nuno said it, but one of them said that it works really well if you ask you on a live stream. I think Nuno was. If you ask here for a like, that people will do it. So people, if you like the stream so far, please give us a like. We would really appreciate it. We have currently 65, so if we get some more, this would be very nice of you. Okay, level 11. So we were talking about when it was released. I think it was February. Do you remember, Nuno?
Yeah.
It was early this year.
Mid-February, yeah.
Yeah, so what I'll start just with something that I still remember is the preparation for the level 11 release. It was the first time that I saw this in Slack, what the team was working on in order to make this a good release with all the packages. There is so much stuff that you have to coordinate. And it really blew my mind, especially Nuno was one of the main figures here, had this huge list of things that you have to take care of to make this a good release. And this really surprised me because, it was a big release, but it's not like Laravel Cloud release, but still there was so much going on. So maybe Nuno, if you remember a little bit, can you tell about what this was for you?
So obviously, it's a new Laravel release, Laravel 11, which brings new features, which typically by itself is already complicated because Laravel as a framework is not as simple as tagging a new version. You have literally to make sure that new version works with everything in between, like the entire ecosystem. On top of that, previous stuff still needs to work as well. That's why we don't typically have breaking changes. So that was challenged by itself, but also the fact that the new Laravel 11 have a new streamlined directory structure. So the skeleton was kind of new for new applications because we wanted to simplify the skeleton. So it was challenging there because the previous applications need to work with this new version, but the new ones also need to work with this new version. Everything needs to be compatible. And yeah, it was a little bit of a challenge, but we started to work on it a little bit early as well, like 3 months before, which gave me enough time to literally making sure the release went very smooth. And it went very, very smooth. So no problems at all. People were excited about, this new application structure, which undeniably we were needing it for it, because if you were to Laravel 10, for example, you would see a lot of files, and this is basically a combination of over the years we keep adding these things and we never actually stop and question ourselves, do we actually need all of this?
Yeah.
Isn't this like too overwhelming for a new person coming into the scene? So we took a step back and we look at the application structure, and we just make some decisions like, does this file actually changes? It never changes, like possibly 0.5% of the people actually change this. So we removed some of the files, we make some adjustments, and at the end of the day, when we released Laravel 11, like 95% of the people were happy with it. 5% was like a little bit skeptical, but even those, like if they look back now, they will think, oh yeah, definitely, like this new app structure just looks simpler, better, more clean. And I'm happy with the Laravel 11 release. So overall, a very successful release, and I think people really liked it. So yeah.
Yeah, very good job on the release. So I'm still very impressed, especially as I told you, seeing this from behind the scenes. This was really, really nice. Josh, I think you also did a video about Laravel 11, did you?
Yeah, I had done a video kind of walking through all the features because still as an outsider or a newcomer to Laravel, I feel like at the time, like it was, I think the first time I actually wrote anything in Laravel was Laravel 9, and that was even just shortly before Laravel 10 was released. So I was still new to Laravel in general when 11 came out, and one of the things that I was most excited for was that streamlined approach. I know that Taylor kind of was a lot hesitant. There was some like flashback or pushback from the community in some ways because it's like, okay, you're gutting a lot, but I think I, like most people, didn't touch most of those files, and so being able to push a lot of those into the command line was something that I was like really excited about, because then it almost forced me in a way to think through and read the docs and say like, okay, when I do need to, add middleware or something like that, not even for every application you have to do that, but when I do need to add middleware, or when I do need to, have a scheduler, how do I do that? And it forces me almost to like make sure I'm doing the right thing or putting it in the right place. So that was the part that I was most excited about as a newcomer, and just being cognizant of like other newcomers, like, okay, sometimes it might be a little bit daunting when you run Laravel new and then you have 50 folders that you have to like look through and think through. Now knowing you really only have 2 in some ways, it's really nice.
Yeah, and I think like Nuno said, the longer you work with something, the more difficult it gets for you to see if something that you already did is something that you might have to change. Maybe you have to rethink something, and which I believe Taylor is still very good because he's working on Laravel for such a long time, and he always finds those things where you could improve something that was already in there or that could be better done. And so Taylor is very good with this, but now also with more talented people in the team, they will always find those things. But I also find it very difficult to, as a maintainer, to change those things, because a lot of people don't want things to change. It's just how it is. They don't like it, and some people are just scared. Some have, of course, with big projects, it's difficult if some of those things change, because this has maybe a little bit impact to your work, for your clients and stuff. So it's okay to be scared. But yeah, I think especially when you, as a newcomer, come to Laravel and take a look how it was with Laravel 10, you will feel like, oh, okay, why would it be like that? This is way better than it was before. So I really think that a lot of people, when they look back, will see that there were a lot of good changes in there. But I also feel like, oh my God, my camera again. So you still can hear me, right?
Still
Yep.
can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So what I also always like when we talk about those big releases like Laravel 11 is that it's very big, but then during the year, so many new features come in where you feel like, okay, oh, if we put those features together from the last month, we could make a major release as well because they're just so good. So I feel like those major releases aren't that big anymore as they were in the past since we're shipping so much cool stuff out as well. So yeah, I'm really excited what Laravel 12 will hold for us because this should be released in February again. So yeah, I have no idea yet, so I haven't heard or seen anything. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Taylor has already some ideas. So yeah, let's see what 25 has for the framework for us. This will be exciting as well. Anything you'd like to add to Laravel 11?
That was it on my side.
I think so.
All right, let's move on.
Otherwise, soon is dinner time and I'm still here.
Do you get some food served during the stream or?
No. My wife will probably wait for me. Yeah. Just kidding, by the way.
No worries. So I think we are now 1 hour and 15 minutes in. So I would say we go about 15, 20 more minutes if that's fine with you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then we'll
let's
wrap
go.
it up. Awesome. Let's take a look what the next topic has for us. Oh, PHP 8.4. Also a big one. Maybe before I say anything, maybe I'll let you start. Maybe, Josh, when you think about PHP 8.4, is there anything that you already checked out or already using anything, or are you waiting a little bit more before you get into it?
Yeah, I feel like with all these new PHP releases, at least since I've been in Laravel, it's probably been 2 or 3, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4. I feel like, but I'm learning more and more about like what's actually PHP versus what's magic in Laravel because I learned PHP coming through Laravel. So I think the two things that I'm excited for is no parentheses in a new class. Like when you're initiating a new class, having no parentheses, that always I mean, I think like I would like Copilot would do most of that for me. But at the same time, now not having to do it, it just makes more sense in my mind. Just be like new, and only one set of parentheses. And then also probably like property hooks. That's pretty cool. And then I still don't get it fully. Like I understand it, unintentional pun, but I still don't get getters and setters fully. But I know that it could be really cool. Like because you have that mix with like public private where like a getter could be private and then but the public version of like the setter isn't, and so like you have all this like niceties where like that kind of stuff, like it makes me want to dive into it more and figure out where could this be really useful, especially like in a Livewire application. I feel like, oh, that'd be really cool to only have specific things that can be touched while the rest is more protected.
Yeah. What about you, Nuno? I know you did also a stream about it, I believe.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I did a stream about PHP 8.4, an unbiased stream. Basically, I wanted to literally find out everything new. And I ended up being excited about something not even mentioned in the release notes, which is properties on interfaces. So basically, just starting by the small stuff, I feel like array find functions and array find key, like all this stuff we already had a little bit on Laravel collections. So it's kind of feel to have that natively, but I felt that I could do that with Laravel collections so easily. Said that didn't make me like so excited, super excited. I feel like one quick win we had was the class instantiation without any parentheses. I feel like that's something people wanted for a long time, and just happy to have that now. And I find it a funny discovery I did while trying out property hooks is that I found that actually can now have properties on interfaces, which is, I feel like it's something that, typically you wouldn't do that if you are writing vanilla code. But if you have existing code that relies on properties already and everyone is using them, and you want to formalize that on a contract or interface, we now can do that with PHP 8.4. So I found that very exciting coming to PHP 8.4, having properties on interfaces. But also, the property hooks also allows you to basically hook into any existing property and kind of return differently the content. So Josh, you were just saying that you don't get it fully, but it's kind of interesting that, with property hooks, you can literally hook into any existing property and say, oh, previously you were returning this, but now I want to actually return this in uppercase each time you fetch this property, for example. So there's a lot of opportunities here to literally, instead of having to do a breaking change, I can just literally have a property hook, which will basically mutate my property and do the job a little bit differently. So property hooks, I was excited, but I feel like this properties on interfaces was the thing I was most excited about. What else? The MB underscore functions are something we needed as well. MB underscore stream, MB underscore UC first, so something we didn't have before and now have as well, which are exciting to have in PHP 8.4. Overall, I think it was a very successful release. We didn't have any problems using this new version, and I feel like the PHP team did a great job.
Yeah, what I find especially cool here is that now with every PHP release, there's really good stuff in them, which wasn't like that. I think overall the last year or maybe 2 years, it was already getting better and better since PHP 8. But before that, we didn't have those good releases. And I really hope that also now with the PHP Foundation and with people working on that stuff and get paid as well, I really hope that we found a good balance to have more people working on PHP and helping this language to give it the love that it deserves. And it's just funny when you think about when I started with PHP, 2012, something like this, or 13. It was like you wrote it because it was easy to do a lot of stuff, but the more you got into it, you were more like, okay, is this really how I want to code? Is this really the language that I want to use? And a lot of people had the same experience, and they tried out Ruby and maybe thought about switching to Rails and using something else. And then Laravel came and they made PHP in some way a little bit cooler and easier to use, and feel like, oh yeah, this is something that that resonates more with me. And then as Laravel has grown, PHP has grown as well, and Laravel was using the latest features right from the beginning. And now we're at a point, I would say, where PHP on its own is really, really good. And I also feel like that we will see more and more people using it, not just with Laravel bringing a lot of people to PHP, just with PHP itself, with the new team, with the foundation, with those new features, which I find really, really promising for the future of PHP. So this is what I'm really excited. And every time I see a release like this one, it looks like it's going in the right direction.
And by the way, for everyone viewing in the chat at the moment, tonight I'm actually interviewing someone from the PHP Foundation and from the PHP internals team. We are going to have someone from the PHP Foundation coming to my YouTube channel. You can find me on Nuno Maduro on YouTube, and basically I will be, having an informal conversation with that people and find more about, what is the PHP Foundation, how actually PHP internals work, what can we have in PHP 9, for example. I think will be a fun conversation to dive a little bit deeper on this topic.
Oh, yeah. Nuno does amazing streams currently almost every day. So, yeah, check him out on Twitch and YouTube because he has always some good topics there.
Thank you, Christoph.
All right. We have 10 more minutes. Maybe one more topic and then we'll wrap it?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Okay. What do we have? Oh, yeah. This is a good one. VS Code extension. So maybe again, this is something where I let one of you start because I have also a different background. Maybe or let's start with this. I know that Josh uses VS Code, right? And he comes more from the world using it. Yeah. So then I know Nuno. He was using PHP. Are you still using?
Dude, I use like 5 editors at this point. I was Sublime Text. I use PHP Storm. I use VS Code. I use Vim. It's just crazy. It really depends on what am I doing. Depending if it's sunny or raining. It's just there is no sense at all.
Have you tried Zed yet, then, Nuno?
Not yet. I haven't tried the new ones though. But I've tried Cursor. and
Christian.
that was it. But yeah,
Okay, then maybe
I'll
let's
let you get
start
started,
with
Josh. Go ahead.
Josh here because he seems like it's the least complicated story for you. So,
Yeah,
VS Code extension, VS Code. What do you think about that we have this
yeah.
extension, or what does it mean?
I think the VS Code extension means that there's that much less friction for someone wanting to dive into Laravel when they're like either coming from a new language or they're just starting, like within their programming or like within Laravel. Because, like it or not, like VS Code is free and it's one of like the most popular options. So people are like maybe already using it or at least familiar with it. Two, it also like the extension being VS Code specific means that it works with any VS Code emulator and also any VS Code like fork. So like Cursor, even like Windsurf would work with VS Code extensions, and even like any online editor, like I believe like Google IDX would still work with like the VS Code extension, and um, like anything like Stack Blitz or whatever that is using kind of like VS Code underneath the scenes. So I think like that's the biggest thing is it's not just for VS Code in a sense. But like me coming into Laravel and having to do VS Code extensions, I had to probably have like 5 or 6, maybe even more different extensions to make it work the way I wanted to. I would have like PHP and Telefence, which I think is still needed at least for now, but then a bunch of like different blade formatters and like autocomplete for Laravel, and then there's like Livewire or React specific ones. And so now having I think my current set of VS Code extensions, which I think I even get better um, like functionality within all of them, is PHP and Telefence, Laravel extension, and then I'm using this one by Robson Tenorio for Livewire Volt. That basically, with those three, I feel like I have everything I need, and now I have an even better experience in VS Code than I used to have when I had like 20 extensions, because I didn't have autocomplete, I didn't have like PHP in Volt. The Laravel extension, I feel like some of my favorite features are the ability to have like create like new blade views if I'm like returning a view in my routes. Just like with hover, I can just like click quick fix and like create a new view, or like having
Mhm.
those kind of like autocomplete or errors are something that sometimes I misspell a view when I'm creating it and I forget. And like it takes forever to find those errors sometimes if you don't have those hints.
Okay, so it looks like you're a big fan of this new extension and you're already using
I'm a
it.
big fan.
What
Using it
about
like
you,
crazy.
Nuno? Have you tried it already?
Yeah, I've tried it. I think overall was a very a very a very big improvement when compared with your previous VS Code experience. Okay, like
Yep.
to really give my really opinion about this is that if you were using something like PHP Storm in Laravel IDE, you will still see one or two things that are not yet on the VS Code Laravel extension. However, if you are coming from a VS Code background, you will definitely see improvement. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I was actually using VS Code as well a little bit when I was developing my apps, because I have a lot of JavaScript, and sometimes I just want to be on that JavaScript setup, which is on VS Code, in my opinion. And I had to go to my PHP code, and I feel like now with the VS Code extension, I have a little bit more my PHP Storm experience, basically. I feel it's not quite there yet when compared with Laravel IDE in PHP Storm. That is still one thing or two which I think is still missing. But as a beta version, as something that just came out, I think is a huge leap forward when compared with vanilla VS Code experience, let's say. So I think the team did a great job. I think I've used the VS Code extension live on stream as well, and I feel like my reactions to it were truly genuine. So I didn't actually use the extension before that, and huge improvement when compared with the previous vanilla VS Code experience. And I feel like from here we'll basically just improve, because it's also open source, so people can do contributions to it. And I feel like we'll just become better and better over time.
Yeah. For me, it was also kind of special because, yeah, if you know me, I'm a big PHP Storm heavy user for many years, and I'm using the Laravel IDEA plugin that you mentioned, which you have to pay for, but it's so, so good and worth every penny. And we're a little bit blessed already for the last years because this plugin has put so much support for Laravel stuff, not just understanding the framework, but so much more features like generators and stuff like that. So very, very blessed already. And when I heard that we are working on this VS Code extension, I was like, okay, nice idea, probably for some people that use VS Code. But what I didn't know, what was surprised me was how many people seem to really use VS Code with Laravel.
Oh yeah.
And the reception of this extension in the last month, almost every video I did, someone wrote a comment about VS Code extension when. And I always took a screenshot and sent it to Joe because he was already stressing out about it.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like how much important was to have this VS Code extension.
Yeah.
Because if you are learning Laravel, your previous editor wasn't PHP Storm because you're probably doing JavaScript or or doing other stuff. So you were not using PHP Storm, and very likely like 95% percentage of likelihood that you were coming with a VS Code background. And if learning a new language or learning Laravel can be already a little bit tricky or new for you, you especially don't want to have also the experience of having to learn PHP Storm in the process. So if we can basically fill a little bit this hole and have you also now provide you a very good Laravel experience on VS Code, I think that's a win situation for Laravel.
Yeah. So I didn't realize how big of a deal this was. But now seeing with the release over 10,000 installs already in the first 10 hours or first days, so this is really crazy and this is huge. So a huge round of applause for Joe again for bringing this out. Again, something free for everybody to use on an editor, which is free to use. So this is something that really made me think about giving VS Code another try with this extension, which I wouldn't say if this extension does not exist, and which you wouldn't have heard me saying in the last years because I'm such a big fan of PHP Storm. But yeah, I think I really need to give it now a try and try out this extension. And I'm very happy just for the community. So for me, it's always glad if we have something for the community and you can make the community happy. And I guess that's the best deal for everybody. Use what works for you best. That's always what I tell everyone. So I don't push anyone to using PHP Storm. I'm trying to convince them with some cool features it has, but yeah, just use whatever you find useful to you. And if we can make the experience better for VS Code, if people use this a lot, then it's amazing that we have the opportunity on Laravel that someone like Joe can spend that much time on this extension and we just give it to you. So this is something that I'm very excited about. And yeah, thank you, Joe, again for working on this.
Yes, sir.
All right, it's 7 p.m. at my time, 90 minutes in. I think it's a good idea to wrap it up. I'm sorry, but I think we won't do any questions today. Is there anything else that you would like to send to the people? Please, of course, check out Josh is doing some amazing videos on his YouTube channel. Nuno is doing amazing streams and videos on his YouTube channel, so please check them out there as well. Me, you will find on the Laravel channel. That's where I spend my time. We also have, once in a while, some nice videos there. So, please check them out as well. Anything, Nuno, Josh, that you want to plug here at the end that you want to say to the people watching?
Not really. Just wanted to say congratulations, Josh and Christoph, for the amazing work you guys are doing on the Laravel YouTube channel. I actually was one of the OGs of this YouTube channel doing videos to this.
Yes.
It just feels, though, that now with you guys, this is going to a different level, a level that I don't know how to do those kind of things. But you guys are doing an amazing job here. All our videos look amazing and professional. So congratulations to you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and really, Nuno is one of the OGs. He did a lot of videos on this channel. I have a count somewhere, not sure how many it was. I think around 50. And he did this next to his work at Laravel. Yep. So this was crazy. I have no idea how he did this. Josh, anything that you want to say at the end to the people watching?
Yeah, I think just stay tuned for everything Laravel's Laravel's coming out with, get on the Cloud and Nightwatch wait lists if you already haven't. But yeah, I think both of those are just going to change a lot of how we build with Laravel. And personally, it's going to change a lot of how I teach through Laravel as well, because it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah, so good. So I would say thank you to everyone watching again, wherever and whenever you currently are. We are so happy to have you on the stream, to have you everywhere with the stuff that we do as the users of the tools that we create, as the viewers of the videos that we do. It's just an amazing community here. And I really hope you had a good year. I really wish you a wonderful Christmas and all the best for the next year as well. We will be here next year for you, so don't worry. We will do our best to push the boundaries with Laravel and try to make this experience and this community even better next year. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining me, Josh and Nuno, and have a great evening, morning, lunch, whatever you currently are.
You
So
too.
thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Christoph. Thank you, everyone.